Speaking of Happy presents Frankly Speaking. With co-hosts Eli Rigatuso, founder and queer transmasculine two-spirit of the Menominee Nation, and the lovely Avalisa Ellicott, model, public speaker, makeup fanatic, and outspoken transgender advocate. Together, we are Frankly Speaking.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh. Can you hear me now?
I can. You're muted.
Yes, the whole time, apparently. I mean, I had all these really great things to say for 13 minutes.
Look, it happens. It happens.
I just love it. 13 minutes.
I was like, I can't. I know my mic is hooked up, right? It's like, oh, he's muted.
Oh, he's
Cool.
muted. He's muted. Oh my God, that is the most hilarious thing. But here, I need to switch. How about, does this sound better? Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay.
You sound like you're right in my ear.
Because I am right in your ear. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
And how are you? Did you know that I sound very feminine? In that 13-minute diatribe that I had, I had a 13-minute rant. My frankly speaking rant
Hmm.
was about the random stranger last Friday who started talking to me and then realizes that I'm trans and then starts talking to me some more. And then it was like trying to serve up, like, oh my gosh, we work with trans people where I work and we do this, that, and the
Yeah.
other. And oh my gosh. And
I
then,
have black friends.
and yeah. And then they were like, this person was like, I am so fascinated by you. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself,
Gross.
fascinate. Like, can you explain to me exactly what that means? That you're fascinated by me? What exactly does that mean? Like, how do I take that exactly? Right?
Are we on LinkedIn?
We are not on LinkedIn today. We can talk however we can f bomb it all night long.
Good. Um,
Oh, so anyway, this person is so fascinated by me, right? And just wants more information. And I just want to understand. Please know that I just want to understand and I want to be able to provide you with support. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm probably never going to see you again.
yeah. You want to support? Pay a bill.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I actually get paid to share this kind of information. And while I appreciate your fascination,
Hmm.
it isn't my job. Like, here's what I said. If you have a genuine desire to learn more, offer to have me consult with you and compensate me for my time. My lived experience isn't to be freely served up to your fascination of me. I mean, truly, I am fascinating, but I am not free.
Pay for it, please.
I mean, I do this, right? We are here at least every other week and we are sharing about the things that you think you are fascinated with. So just tune into the show.
Become a patron.
Yeah, go to our Patreon page, support us, put some money, right? So here you go. There we go. There's Patreon. Go
Look,
to the Patreon page.
this is
I
what you
mean,
do with your fascination.
this is what you do with your fascination. Be sure that when you sign up, though, that you talk about how hot Avalisa is. That's very important.
Thanks. We do have some comments.
Yeah, I see that. What do we have here? We have, yeah, I was
Here's
very, very grateful to Snipey MC Send It, who warned me that my sound was off, tipped me off that my sound was off. Thank you very much, Snipey. Story of your life. Okay, Snipey, tell us a little bit more about that. And you don't have to explain yourself to anyone, I'd say. You are correct. I do not. I do, however, sometimes, depending, like if I really have a
yeah.
genuine person who I can always tell when
Hmm.
they're really being genuine and they're asking the questions in a manner that is really affirming. They may not have the right language, but I can tell when it's really coming from here.
Yeah, you can tell when somebody's just really interested to learn so that they can help themselves, and then you can tell people who are interested to learn so that they can tell somebody else that they learned.
Yeah. Or they can tell the next trans person that they meet, "Oh, well, I met
Uh-huh.
this trans guy and he told me blah, 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 blah."
He was the Lorax, and he said,
That's why this detransition stuff uh, is so it's so
dangerous.
difficult and dangerous. Yes, difficult and dangerous because there are folks like, all I can keep thinking to myself is, with great power comes great responsibility, right? And so if you're somebody who wants to build a following on social media and you want to have all these TikTok followers and you're all these things and you think you're all that in a bag of chips, you should really think about what kinds of things are you sharing and are they appropriate to the entire group of people who consider themselves to be transgender, non-binary, and gender nonconforming? Are you taking into consideration everyone in that under that umbrella?
Right, because while you are completely encouraged to tell your story and live your truth, I understand for some people that they transition based around all types of misunderstandings about themselves. There are people who do that, and their goal is to get back to themselves, to find themselves, and I completely support that. You do you. But the thing is we have a lot of dumbasses out here who aren't taking the time to actually educate themselves, and they're watching your video and thinking that they know the entire trans experience, and they're using your detransition as fuel. And so it's a responsibility that we have as trans people that none of us should have to fucking have, but it's a responsibility that we have to also educate people when we are in a space, in an elevated space where our visibility is elevated. So if you are detransitioning and you understand that that is going to be used as fuel against trans people who have no desire in transitioning, you say, this is my story, this does not
Yeah,
apply to everyone, this is just me, this is what I'm going through. This may align with some other people, but this is not everyone. Do not use this as fuel, because a lot of people are saying, look at these kids detransitioning. They have no idea what they want. They shouldn't be able to transition young.
yeah,
What about the kids who know 100% within their soul who they are, who need that transition for their mental health?
right, right. Yes, because it's not it's again, my experience is different than your experience. We can
Hmm.
find common themes. There are definitely common themes where we can build bridges to one another of understanding. But there are certain things that I've learned from you as a Black trans woman, as a veteran, parts of your life that I have not experienced myself.
Hmm.
And I'm sure that you've learned things from me as
Oh,
someone who is
absolutely.
indigenous and, my experience and also being older. I mean, I know I don't look it. Thank you to the but, I'm 56 and a half years old, man. I'm going to be 57 this year. Wow. And so there's that kind of we have to be thinking about that when we're thinking about, like, as a younger trans person, how do your words impact an older trans person?
Hmm.
How do your words impact the people who are your age who are trans, who may not be trans the same way you do?
Like, working with the group of people that I do, there's no, thank you, Snipey. Working with the people that I do, there's no age group for veterans. It is a wide, um, various age group. And so you have older people who have wanted to transition their entire lives, and are just kind of living a half life because at this point they feel like that's the only thing that they can do. You have people that transitioned in their 50s, you have people who transitioned in the military, you have people who got out of the military very quickly and transitioned considerably young, like myself. I was able to transition at 22. Um, but I understand that it's such a wide expansive experiences, I have to make sure that everything I say and all of the things that I represent, especially when I'm representing the organization Transgender American Veterans Association,
Mhm.
um, I have to make sure that it is a message that is not going to be offensive, a message that is going to be widely accepted, and a message that is completely centralized on my own experiences. We had an event on the second around Black History Month, and we were talking about the experiences of Black trans veterans and the fact that as a white person, when you say I'm a veteran, everyone kind of, thank you, Eli, everyone kind of
Mhm.
sits back and they say, oh, you served your country, you go for, like, they give you so much hype and so much love and so much support. Um, whereas a Black veteran is getting a completely different type of support. Yes,
Ah.
100%. And that's why the work that I do for the organization that I do work for, Tava, is so important because it's important for veterans to be able to feel community, trans veterans to be able to feel community. But in this conversation, we talked about the differences and the intersectionality and the ways that they work, being a veteran, because when you look at the line of privilege, being a veteran, being a white cis het male veteran, you are at the very front of the line,
Yep.
and it just goes further and further and further and further back. And so when you're a Black trans veteran, like, the way that people interact with you is completely different. And I think that it's important for our entire community to understand the experiences and the plights of Black trans people, because they are so different. So when you are standing up to try and make a difference, and when you are speaking up about trans issues, you also understand that there are people who have different issues than your own. And so that's why it's important to centerize your own experience. Do you mind if I take like
Please.
a
I'm
quick look?
I'm right there on the ride.
Um, Black History Month. If you were socialized male, because I don't want to say assigned male at birth, because some people, transition earlier in life and they don't hold the same things. If you were socialized male, stop using your white male privilege in trans spaces, because it doesn't work the same. It doesn't work the same. When you are using white cis male privilege out in society, you are at the top of the list. You are in the front of the line and you're able to run over everybody. But when you get back to us and you're using your white male privilege on trans people, specifically Black trans women, that's fucked up, because the only way that you can use that power, use that sense of entitlement, is against Black trans women and trans people of color. That's the only people that are going to be affected by it. You walk into a room as a white trans woman and you voice yourself the way that you did when you were socialized male, it's not going to hit the same. But you know who it will hit the same for? Me. Understand that we are in a community together, and me being the only person that that's affecting, there's no point using it unless you're using it to further our voices, and that's not what I'm saying.
Well, and
It's
I
disgusting.
yes, and I think the other piece of that most people that don't understand is when to like step back, right? And uplift someone else's voice, and when to actually use that that socialized as male, use that, knowing when to use it. Again, with great power comes great responsibility. But I do see a lot of times when we have folks who are white trans folks, regardless of when they transition, especially those who are assigned male or socialized as male,
Hmm.
they don't necessarily understand the inherent privilege that they had up to a certain point, especially those who transitioned later in life like I did.
Who had more time to be socialized male. It's just
Yes.
very disgusting
Mm.
when I see white trans
Mm.
women or white people who were socialized male, white trans people who were socialized male, use that in these spaces, and it makes me think really terrible things. And because this is frankly speaking, I'm gonna go ahead and say it right here. Um, I think a lot of you are the reason that TERFs stand on the leg that they do, because
Mm.
you're walking into female-led, female spaces, and you're using white male privilege in these spaces, and they don't want you here. And it's not because you're trans, it's because the way that you're speaking to them and the way that you're treating them. Stop
Yeah.
doing that. You're making all of us look terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are so many different things that intersect that I think is another reason why it's like, I look at it this way. Started my transition in 2015. By 2017, I was written up and on a written warning at my job because there were so many people pushing back on the changes that were happening. And in that moment, there was a part of me that lost myself. And I lost myself based on and I started thinking like, am I doing the right thing? Is this really me? Is this shit, kind of buying into some of this gaslighting and this bullshit that you get from people who say things like, but your voice is so feminine. And it's like, yeah, you know why? Because I started my transition at 50. But here's the other thing. Voices are just voices. They're not
Yeah.
feminine or masculine. It doesn't matter. There are women with very deep voices. There are men with very high voices. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on with your goddamn comment about my feminine voice. It just isn't cool. It's just not cool. And so it's understanding and knowing your place, right? It's knowing your place. And I just think that there's those layers of privilege that we as trans folks don't always necessarily understand. And I say we because I know that there are sometimes certain privileges that I have. But there is also very coded language. Like I wrote a direct email communication to someone about something, and that person went to one of the other leaders and basically said that I was being threatening and abusive. And this is in an email. And I was like, are you kidding me? Do you realize that if a cis man had sent that, it would have just been a clear communication. It wouldn't have been taken in any other manner. And so it's like it I don't understand people enough, I think, to really get my own head wrapped around the fact that, you know, just in general, cis people can kind of are out of touch on a lot of things. But then you get trans folks who have had a certain level of privilege for however long that are also out of touch about certain things. And again, this is not to put anyone down. It's just more of if you can't understand those things, then you actually have a negative impact on yourself and the community.
It's this thing that we go through. That comment about Chelsea Manning,
Yeah.
agreed. Agreed. There's
Mm.
this thing that we expect, being trans people who were marginalized before expressing transness. We understand how privilege works, and we watch that privilege come, we watch that privilege go. We kind of understand what's happening. And not being able to recognize that is privilege in itself. I think not recognizing, I just really feel like everybody needs to sit down and be like, okay, how do I benefit from privilege? What privileges do I benefit from? Okay, cool, got it. Because I think ignoring these things and not actually
Yeah.
thinking about them and not addressing them is harming society as a whole.
Yeah.
Yes, the military is toxic masculinity, the very definition. The thing is
Bloop.
every time people ask me questions about the military, every time I do an interview about my experience in the military, I say it is extremely misogynistic. The fact that the military was nothing but men, nothing but white men, then, a couple of black men. And then they were like, okay, we'll bring women in, but they have to be sexy nurses. We'll let that one slide. Okay, we'll let women in, but they have to be masculine. They got to show me that they're just as good as men. And then how far have we actually gotten past that? Not that far.
Not that far.
Not that far. We're still kind of all up in that. Because when
Yeah.
you think of a veteran and you picture in your mind's eye what a veteran is, you see an old white man wearing a veteran hat. You,
Well, I have some indigenous relatives who served. So for me, I see my Uncle Boogie, I see my cousin Steve, and and so that's where I go. Although now I see you. I see
mhm,
you. I see Layla. I can't think of what her last name is right now. But Layla and her husband, who are both trans and who have both served, and he
mhm,
is still serving. And so it's like I'm thinking, now for me, there were some trans folks that I met many years ago. I have to pull these interviews out. There is a trans veteran that I met many years ago, and man, was she ever awesome. Like this was at least 2 decades ago that I interviewed her around spirituality, and she shared about being a trans veteran and some of the things that she had experienced. And just I was just like, wow, I mean, just couldn't even imagine, but here she was dressed to the nines, going out with friends, and they get stopped by this group of men who wants to be a bunch of jerks. And she says, we warned them, because she wasn't the only veteran in the group. There was 3 of them and like 4 or 5 of the other of these men that were harassing them. And she said, you do not want to mess with us. and, and
I
they
say
did.
it all the time, and I'm
And
like,
oh
I
my
will
God.
hurt you, and it's not because I'm trans. It's because I was in the military,
Yes.
and I know
And
exactly how to take you down. Don't do it.
yeah,
Don't do it to yourself.
she said few minutes, and they were all on the ground, and they were walking down the street. Not the trans women, the 3 trans women, they were standing.
Mhm.
What is this? Snipey. Do you know who Snipey is? I love Snipey. Yes, the bro culture is
Possibly.
ridiculous. I got the Fort Campbell when they just killed a gay man for being gay. After that, if you claimed to be gay, you got out of the military in 72 hours and had an NCO guard with you. Yep.
Yeah. A
Yep.
lot of people claimed some type of queerness just to get out of the military. I went through Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I actually did a photo shoot. I was thinking about it earlier in this conversation. I did a photo shoot about queer people in the military who could not come out about it. And it was
Wow.
all shadows, and Jeff Shang shot it.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, you can't see my face, you can't see anything. It's just me in my uniform standing in front of a window, and you see the blind light. And it was just this big spread of queer
wow.
people that were serving secretly in the military. But, we understood exactly what it was. And I constantly went through a witch hunt almost daily. When it was time for me to do my job, nobody had an issue with it because I could do my job. But anytime I was outside of that airplane, everybody was like, you're just a little bit too feminine for me.
Mm,
Just your uniform fits a little too tight. What can we do to get you kicked out? And that
wow.
was the culture that I existed in. And
Yeah.
being able to come out on the other side of that with as much pride in myself as I had,
Yeah.
it's simply being beautiful.
Yeah. Actually, this makes me think that I kind of skipped over that last part, but I always tell you how beautiful you are. Okay, so there is, I think, is it on Amazon Prime? I think it's on Prime. I don't know if you've watched this or not. Uh, Documentary about
about trans veterans.
No.
I'm trying to look it up here. Prime Video, because I think I bought it because I was like, of course I'm going to buy this so that I can support it having been made. Maybe it's not. Okay, maybe it's on. I'll have to look. Anyway, it is a. All right. It's actually called Trans Military. It's 2018 was when the documentary came out. Not sure where you can watch it now. But it was really a powerful documentary. I mean, they talked to a number of different trans veterans and people who are still serving in the military. But it is definitely worth a watch. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna paste this into the chat here. So that's where you can find it on the website, transmilitary.org. But I was trying to figure out where you could go and watch the whole film. What were you going to say? You're looking at your.
I found the book. It's a photo book. And
Oh,
I was like, oh, I should probably grab one. And I
yeah.
found it on Amazon. Guess how much it is on Amazon?
How much? $79?
Yeah.
Wow. What's the book called?
Don't Ask, Don't Tell, Volume 1.
Oh. Wow. Wow, that's amazing.
I wanted to see if I could
79.
find my picture.
Well, there's a few of them in there.
He sent it to me. Oh, there it is.
Found it?
Yeah.
You gonna show us?
Mm.
No.
I'm not in front of the window. I'm actually walking out of the closet.
Oh. Okay.
I am sending it to you.
All right.
I'm the picture that they use for an article at Columbia University.
Oh wow.
That's
Walking
Mia.
out of that's you walking out of the closet.
Walking out of the closet.
Walking out of the closet. Yes. Anyway, Trans Military documentary is an awesome documentary. I would recommend it to anyone. Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's my little apartment back in Abilene, Texas.
That is.
There's my sleeping mask. It was like eucalyptus and lavender. Anytime I
hanging
smell
right
it,
off,
like
hanging right off the corner of your bed with your.
mhm.
I mean, can I tell you that you still have a very cute butt?
Yeah, that's why I got in trouble so much. Like my flight suit fit my butt way more than everybody else's. And they were like, I don't trust this. What are you doing behind closed doors? Men.
Oh my gosh. You have a very nice butt. That was the
Thank
that
you.
was the
Oh, you can
problem.
put the picture up.
Okay.
I just didn't want to do it with my light shining back on it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, thanks for clarifying. Let me pull that up.
Of course.
Of course. And then I will download it. Download it. And then I will put it over here if I can figure out where it went.
Yeah, just me walking out the closet.
Yep.
Yeah, he came to Abilene, Texas. I don't even remember how we started talking, but he came to Abilene, Texas, and he said, would you mind if we just shot this in your apartment? I've been shooting them, in barracks and things like that where people are. And I was
Oh,
like, yeah, cool. Okay.
okay. I'll add that to the. Oh, it's in the photo library. Why does it do that?
To make it difficult for you.
Oh my gosh! Right. There it is. Okay, so now I am going to. I'll just make it bigger, and then I'll see if I can.
Oh, volume 2 had couples in it.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. All right, share screen. We'll share this screen. There it is.
That's me.
I mean, see that? There is. There it is.
There
Photo
that
evidence.
booty.
Yep.
There that booty.
Oh, goodness sakes. Too funny. All right. So I think we've said a lot about detransitioning. I was going to share a couple of snippets. There was actually a video that I ended up seeing after we spoke last week. And I was like, oh, see, now this actually is someone who understands. I just thought the way that they talked about their own detransition. Let me see if I can find it quick. It was on Facebook. I think I saved it. Let me see if I can find my saved stuff. Because that's always hard. Ah, there it is. Let's see here. A TikToker's journey detransitioning. I'm going to see, though, if I can actually pull it up. We're not going to watch the whole thing because it's kind of long. But I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to put us over here for a moment. And I'm going to start it. All right.
Oh,
What?
just
I
deeper
think
and deeper into it.
what did I do there? Okay, I put it on the wrong screen. That's what I did. Okay, so now I'm going to do screen share, and I'm going to share on this side from this side, and I'm going to make this bigger.
Yes, that is the person that I started watching. And it's one of the sounds that they used.
It's what?
One of the sounds on TikTok, you use common sounds. So there's
Oh,
multiple videos for a sound. And one of the sounds that they used was a sound that a lot of trans men who detransitioned used. And so
oops. The heck? What was that
it
about?
was it was
Go ahead.
scrolling through them where I was like, oh, we have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I just was, as I was watching this, and I'm thinking to myself that there were some things that this particular person was saying that I was like, okay, I can.
Yeah. Oh no, this person and their detransition, I was like, you're doing this beautifully.
Yeah.
You're doing this absolutely beautifully. But one of the sounds that they used was being used by a lot of people who weren't. And that's where I was notified of the problem. Like this
Oh,
person detransitioning, I was like, hmm, that's got to be different. Like I know my issues with facial hair, but you were on T and got facial hair, and now you have to get. Geez, this is crazy. I love this. We're both going through the same thing.
right.
But they are very clear about it being their detransition and their journey through exploring who they actually are. Um,
Yeah.
and not getting caught up in what they feel society wants them to be or who they feel society wants them to be. So this person, yeah, but it was one of their sounds that they used where I was like, oh, geez, these people are crazy.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I mean, and so that's the thing. I mean, I hope that But again, we can't even hope that there are people who are watching who are going to understand and be discerning about what it is that they're watching, because we already know that, 70 million people voted to put Jackhole back in the
Yeah,
presidential suite,
yeah.
in the White House, in the presidential suite.
I am concerned for 2024.
Oh man, right? Oof. Dang. That's already only 2 years away. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already starting to see all the stuff coming up with our governor election. And it's all white, old Republican, rich men who are,
Mhm.
who claim that people are illegal. And it's like, oh my God, is that the only thing that you can stand on? Is
Yeah.
that the only thing?
Get
And
rid of
they're
the
always,
aliens, the
and they're,
illegal
yeah, they're
immigrants.
always on a farm wearing like something farm clothes related. And I'm just like, come on, really? This is what gets it every time? Let's see here. Voting is for noobs, in my humble opinion. We don't have a two-party system, simply a party taken over by two parties. Well,
I
I
won't
don't
get into
disagree.
politics.
I do not disagree with you.
We got
Snipey.
two groups of assholes.
That's right.
Uh,
Well, I'll tell you, I dabble my foot a little bit into some politics stuff, and I'm a member of the Democratic Party, and I'm currently hold the seat for LD10 in Nebraska, and I there are just things that happen that just baffle me, that just baffle me. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And these are Democrats, even, right? These are people but they're still, there's a whole range of Democrats. It's not like every time you meet a Democrat that they're right in line with all of your thinking. There are Democrats that vote against people like us. What else are you saying, Snipey? Oh, a system taken over by two parties. Yes. And then when do we stop it? I don't know. That's a darn good question. The Dems rigged an election in 2016 against Bernie. Why be a part of them? Yeah.
honestly, don't. I'm
Yeah.
getting out of here. Me and my husband are moving there.
Just don't go too soon.
Oh, we still have time. We still have time, but we're gonna pack it up because
maybe by the
this.
time maybe by the time you're packing it up, I'll be ready to retire and I'll just come with you.
Yeah, yeah.
How
Let's
about
get out of
that?
here because that right there, they have proven that they are not for us.
That is messy. That is messiness. Absolutely.
And
Big
and
time.
leaving land. Not only was this my land, but I was also stolen from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And leaving it, no qualms whatsoever.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Oh, Snipey. If there
Whew.
was a pair of testicles in the military, they'd be in DC arresting those war criminals. Yeah, there you have it.
I will not speak on that one.
We need to know where Snipey came from.
I don't know, but I appreciate it.
I do too. I appreciate me a little Snipey. Snipey MC, send it.
I appreciate the send it.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you for joining us this evening, Snipey, and being so interactive and sharing. Oh, I see
Yes, I
Snipey's
love the
actually on
interaction.
Snipey's on Twitch even. That's a Twitch
Mm-hmm.
person. Love it. Love it. Love it. I think this is the first time we've had somebody interacting with us on Twitch.
Thank you. We do it every other Thursday,
Hey.
every other
It's
Tuesday.
every other Tuesday at 9:00. This is so we will skip next Tuesday. I do actually host a show called Speaking of Happy that happens on the opposite Tuesday, Snipey, but we definitely every other Tuesday at 9 p.m. We're going to be having a very interesting conversation on the 22nd. So not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. And this conversation is going to be led a little bit more by Avalisa and one of our dear friends who is joining us, Ariel. And we're going to have a conversation about folks who, how hard it is to date as a trans woman, the conversation around what kind of men will approach you and how they treat you when they discover that you are actually wanting to have bottom surgery, and just what that terrain looks like. Well, not that terrain, but you know what I'm talking about. All right. What is Snipey
I was laughing
saying?
at the comment.
Right on, Snipey.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the conversation.
Snipey actually sat 13 minutes listening to me, watching me rant, talk, move my hands, do all the things, and then said, "You're on mute. Your sound is off, friend." Oh, I love it. So yeah, so that'll be the conversation 2 weeks from now. Dating while trans, and then what does it look like when you are pursuing gender affirming surgeries?
I am going to be very vocal. Very vocal.
I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. And I believe Ariel will too. She has some recent situations that she had to deal with in regard to that. And it just, it slays me. But Micah, thank you so much for laughing at me and my foible of having myself muted. And
Micah or
then
Mika.
I think it's pronounced Micah. That's my friend Micah Covington, who I've known for quite some time. I'm almost positive, but Micah,
some of these names,
we are, yes,
I don't want to.
Yes, and lots of white men trying to have a say is so right. They are. It's interesting because it just, again, it's that whole fetish. It's the whole fetishization of trans women that that's grounded in that, in regard to the whole body parts conversation. So
yeah, but
yep.
To segue into next week, I just want to say, hi, how are you? I'm wonderful. Just want to let you know that I am trans. How big is it?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh man. Wow.
Yeah.
That's just downright disgusting.
That's one of the calmer ones. Yeah. But like, it immediately just throws it, like saying I'm trans just throws it into a completely different realm of, it's like, when did we get off of Tinder and when did we jump to Pornhub? Because that one caught me off guard.
Yeah. Well, see, and this is, I think, the other piece of it. It's like, even just in everyday life, like my conversation with this person who finds out I'm trans, and the next thing you know, it's like I'm being served up to her fascination of, it's like, I don't know exactly how to take.
I've never met a trans before. Ooh. Hey everybody, look, I'm talking to a trans.
Are you still transgendering? Are you still transgendering?
Which way are you transgendering? Which way are you going?
Yeah, which way are you going? I'm not clear because your voice is so feminine.
I will never forget the time somebody hopped in my comments and said, no matter what you do to yourself, you will never be a man. And I was like, sickening. Thank you. I think you meant that as an insult, but baby, that was affirmation. Thank you for that.
You will never be a man. Yep.
Right on the money.
You are right.
No matter what you do, you'll never be a man. Thank you.
Well, I didn't want to be. I never wanted to. I never wanted that.
That's what this is.
Well, I actually had somebody go to the take the time to actually type out a letter and then put it in an envelope and write out my name and address and put a return address on it. Now, granted, the return address
That's
was for a
bold.
business. It was for a
Okay.
business. So I didn't know whether or not it was like, are you doing that? But what they said was, you can lop off your breasts, but that will never make you a man. And I was laughing because I'm thinking, my God, I feel so bad for the men who actually because everybody has breasts.
Look, because some men make my titties look small. If I have to have on a bikini top at the beach, you do too, sir.
Yes. That is exactly my thought. Why do I have to look at those? I would rather look at these.
It's like both these people have titties, so which one?
Yeah.
Which one is the man? The one who's showing them, or the one who got them covered up?
Who's the real man?
These both titties. These double D's over here.
Snivy. It's crazy how dudes think they get to define what a man is. Well, exactly. They get to define who a man is, who a man isn't. It's like placating to all the different things.
I love listening to women try and define what a woman is. You have to bleed out of your vagina and have a baby. You're leaving a lot of cis women out of that conversation.
Yeah. Yes,
you have to be able to have a baby. Still leaving them out. You have to have had a period. Still leaving them out.
Yep.
Are you excluding cis women from womanhood?
Based on your definition.
I understand that I have never experienced life as a little girl, and that will always separate me from the experiences of cis women. I understand that, but my journey through womanhood is through the lens of transness. I get that. Trust me, we all get that. We get that every time we look in the mirror. You don't understand what gender dysphoria is.
Yeah.
But it's a constant reminder. We get that. We are not trying to take over cis female spaces. We just want to exist as well.
Yes. And exist and be affirmed as a woman, because you are. I don't think you should have had to have any sort of experience. I mean, I would probably venture a guess that you have an experience of what it is to be a little girl.
Not
Just like,
socialized as a little girl.
well,
And the constraints that girlness comes with. I was able to run outside without my shirt on and not be punished for it. I didn't really have to deal with the disgusting glares of older men sexualizing my prepubescent body. And so, I understand that I didn't experience those things. And for a lot of the conversations that I have had with cis women, a lot of these experiences shaped and molded them certain ways and shaped the way that they think and the way that they exist in society. But like realty, society as a whole is just misogynistic.
Yeah. Oh,
because they're telling cis men that they can't be men because they'll always be women. And they're telling cis women, nope, you can't be a woman because you can't give up being a man.
Yeah. It's all centered on that.
Yeah.
It's all
about the penis.
Micah. Congratulations. I'm so happy to hear that, Micah.
Congratulations.
Yes. A lot. I mean, Micah has been through something like I might have to invite Micah on the show at some point. Micah, if you'd be willing to come and join us and have a conversation, we would certainly appreciate that. But Micah has been through a lot in her life and what she's had to deal with. She has a disease and just other things. Yes. See? Yes, absolutely. All right. I will get in touch with you, Micah. We'll get you on the show. Probably not in 2 weeks, but in 4 weeks, because we do every other week. But I will message you and we'll get you locked and loaded. All right, Micah?
Snipey's comments are everything I need right now.
You're allowed to be whatever you want. Absolutely. We are all born onto the same rock floating around in outer space. The labels are for the dummies trying to divide us. Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful. Snipey is our new number one fan.
Yeah. And I appreciate the commentary.
Yes, I do too. I'm so glad you popped in here too, Micah. I know you've had some challenges recently, and I'm so happy to hear that you're going to have that surgery. So that's just awesome. So, but listen,
I'm
it is
happy for you, Sarah.
10:03. It is 10:03, and I need to put this body to bed because I'm old.
I'm just super tired from the day. I ran myself ragged and I loved every second of it.
I can relate. I've been running myself a little ragged as well. So I'm looking forward to a nice night's sleep because I got another big day locked and loaded for tomorrow. So
Just got to remember to take my makeup off because I have to get a new driver's license on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And I look so beautiful in my last driver's license. I have to go harder.
Yeah. Okay. Well, do it. And then you'll have to be sure to send me your new photo so that we can share it with the
I will.
world.
Because hold on. Just as an outro, I have to show it.
Good to see you too, Micah. Thanks for popping in. Snipey, thank you. Appreciate you joining us.
It's basically just going to be about recreating this makeup look.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. We've shared that one.
Yeah.
We have shared that one. That's beautiful. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
You and your luscious lips.
Gotta make sure they're red.
That's right. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again. This has been another fun-filled and super frank. That's my new nickname. Super Frank show episode of Frankly Speaking. Again, next Tuesday, I'll have an episode of Speaking of Happy. I'm not quite sure yet who we're going to be speaking to, but we will be having conversation next week. And then after that, so 2 weeks from tonight, we will have another episode of Frankly Speaking where we talk about people being jerks.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we do all the time anyway.
Gross assholes.
Gross assholes. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.